Namaste everybody for our Friday practice. Bonjour. Today's practice, I've changed a little bit the orientation, and I've changed the sound recording as well to see if that improves things. So we'll see how it works. Today's practice is a 60-65 minute practice, which I've devised as a sort of earthing practice. So having been thinking this week about sort of how to sort of reconnect with the important things in life, get everything in proportion, try to kind of create some inner strength and resources and energy. I've been looking at sort of yoga poses that are going to help us sort of reconnect to the source, if you like, however you want to sort of imagine that for you. So I keep thinking earthling practice. I keep saying earthing and then wanting to say earthling, but I suppose that's relevant as well. We're all earthlings. So we're going to start today seated. You might want to grab a blanket and a cushion for today's practice. I'm going to sit on a cushion today, and I'm still injured in my left ankle, so you might see me guarding that a little bit. So to start with, we're just going to come into a very comfortable seated position, and if it's one or two cushions you require, that's absolutely fine. And we're going to just start to sit and breathe. So this is about connecting with your breath, with your body, with how you're feeling, and sort of focusing in on the heart center. So not the organ, the heart center in terms of the flow of prana through energy through your body. So we're going to sit and try and sort of think about connecting into the root. So your root lock, your mula bandha, pelvic floor, tucking in. And we're going to sit up and be as tall as we can. Nothing too rigid, but just trying to align the spine and the spinal column and the sort of flow of energy up and down the spine. So we're going to sit and breathe for a moment. Ballooning the belly, bringing the breath up to the top. And then tucking the belly in and breathing out. So that's sort of standard wave-like breath that we do in yoga. Drawing your attention maybe to the length of the out-breath, encouraging the breath with the bandhas to just push out a little bit more. Nothing forced, but just engaging the muscles and engaging the diaphragm. I'm going to bring our hands together and just rub them gently together to warm them up. This is something you can do if you want to create a nice sort of meditative space for yourself. You can rub your hands, warm them up, and then cup them over your eyes and breathe. So if you want to do that, that's fine. Warming the hands up, maybe forming them into more of a bird-like shape, and just rest them over your heart center. So you've just got sort of fingers on each side of the chest. Drop the shoulders back, stretch through the top of the head. Bandhas lightly tucked in now to support, and breathing here. So bandhas in, breath goes high, we can feel the hands lifting as we breathe in and then lowering as we breathe out. And we can also feel what's going on underneath our hands. So you might be able to feel your heartbeat, and you can certainly feel the effect of the breath coming in and out. You can feel the vibration, feel the change in the body as the breath comes in and the breath goes out. Two more breaths like this. Taking your time, not rushing. And I'm going to change the hand position into a little triangle. So triangles have lots of significance in lots of different sort of cultures, value systems, religions. The triangle here is we're going to sort of turn it over our heart center, and we're going to breathe out and send the source of our energy down to the source of life. So obviously here, no sniggering at the back, we're talking about our reproductive organs. Okay, so the breath out, send the energy down to the root, connecting to the source of life. This is where the source of life happens, we know it. And just then connecting that to the earth. So you're sort of plugging yourself in. So it would be an in-breath up and an out-breath. Send the breath down. In-breath up. And then send the breath down. You can make the movements as small as you like, or as big as you like, but certainly as slow as you can. Sending the breath out, tucking in the bandhas. Couple more breaths here and settle yourself. Change your leg position then when you're ready. So keeping that alignment through the spine, thinking of how you can sort of have the optimum sort of energy channel running up and down your spine for the whole of this practice, and connecting with Mula Bandha particularly, and connecting with the breath. So there's a bit to think about, but that's why it's an earthing practice. We're going to take just a very gentle twist. So we're just going to bring the left hand to the right knee, going to roll the right shoulder open, and we're not going far. We're certainly not pushing or tugging on this knee. We're sitting up and just tucking the chin in and breathing here, and focusing on the breath into the right hand side. Thinking about the alignment and just tuning in. If you want to stare into the middle distance, you can stare at the tip of the nose, or you can just close your eyes. And then when you're ready, certainly no hurry, breathe in back to centre and breathe out to the other side. So turning round, just keeping the gentle alignment, stretching up, lengthening and breathing. In-breath, back to centre. So we're going to stretch ourselves forward a little bit. So we're going to just sort of think about rolling the shoulders. So just sort of getting some movement through the shoulders. So hands onto the knees. We're going to sort of, it's a bit like a really slow-mo fist of fire, but with still hands. So breathing in and dropping the belly first of all. Okay, so we're going to cave the back, drop the shoulder heads forward. Then on your next in-breath, guide yourself through, heart centre pops through to the front, the shoulders roll up. And at the top, you change it to a drop of the shoulders, a cave of the back and the belly. Suck everything in and push the breath out. Breathing in, dropping shoulders, sweeping up, keeping the breath going in, bring the shoulders up. Heart sings here, and then breathing out, drop the shoulders down, cave the back. Just a couple more of these then, because it's very, very slow and deliberate. So you're sort of breathing in, thinking about the shoulder movement as well. lot to think about. Getting to the top of the breath, lengthening. You might feel the back start to release a little bit, a little popping or clicking. Breathing out, drop the shoulders and sink. And use the bandhas here to suck the belly to the spine. So again, change your leg position at any point if you need to, because we're on the uncomfortable side now. So just dropping and moving. Coming back to stillness when you can. And you can stay on your cushion for this, but if you're on 2 cushions or 3 cushions, then just drop yourself down to 1 cushion. So we're going to tuck one leg in at the front. I'm going to tuck one leg out to the outside, so a deer pose. It might be that you want to shove the pillow, can't talk today, pillow over to one side or the other, depending on how comfy or uncomfy you're feeling. So it might be that the back leg has to be propped, or the other side has to be propped. Some of you will know which side your hips are most tight. So sitting up here nice and tall, sweep the left arm up, so it'll be the same arm as the same leg in front, and stretch up, lengthen, and breathe out. And here we're aiming to sort of sit down through the pelvis, tuck up the bandhas, and then lengthen and extend the energy. So you don't have to go very far, and certainly, you know, the pelvis is in the way, so it's not going to move that much. Keep breathing here. So we're earthing down and yet expanding and creating space. Release that off, bring yourself back up. Swap this leg out to the side now. You might want to prop yourself completely back up on the pillow or sit on the floor for this one. You might find that slightly easier for this one. You're going to need your blanket or your towel here. Roll it up a little bit and stick it underneath your right knee. So you're going to keep that left leg tucked in. Sitting down now nicely through the sit bones should be easier with the leg out in front or to the side rather than tucked behind you. We've got the prop here to stop us pushing and hyperextending the knee joint. I'm going to activate the right leg. So the right leg might lift off the floor, and you're going to just keep sitting down, sit down, and then use that energy from the legs and the floor to extend yourself up. So hands position is up to you, but we're going to turn away. So my hands are on my knees. I'm going to roll the left shoulder open, turn to the bent leg. Breathing here. This might be enough for you, just settling here. Or you may want to go over into the expansion. So breathe in, lift the arm up, and then slide yourself down the leg. Doesn't have to be a big sort of full Darcy bustle. Just think about the turn away and the lengthening out of the bent leg hip. Keep activating. If it's easier here, you can push the heel of the straight leg into the floor just to create that slight sort of isometric bit of work in that leg. It's up to you. Keep breathing. Keep turning away as you breathe in and lift yourself up. When you're back up in the central position, turn yourself back to the other side. I'm going to take this pose on the other side and then take deer as we swap the legs over. So pop the towel underneath here, bending the other leg into position, tucking it in. Again, activate that straight leg and avoiding sort of pushing down and hyperextending the knee. So bringing the toes towards the face. Sit up nice and tall, so we're pushing down, taking the energy from the legs, bandhas, and bringing it up through the top of the head. Breathing here, hands on knees, turning away, so we're rolling the right shoulder open and stretching up. This might be enough for you. And then think length, think height, tuck the chin in, and up to you if you want to breathe out and slide yourself over. Again, doesn't have to be the full Royal Ballet effect. You're just looking at the length, space, so pushing down, earthing, tucking in, and then expanding and creating space. Breathing here. Spend time in this pose, keeping that even weight through the sit bones, which isn't easy as you're moving off to the side. And then carefully keep the turn away, bring yourself back up on an in-breath, and then release yourself back to center on the out-breath. You can release your blanket for the minute. We're going to use it in a second to do some kneeling, so you might want to flatten it out and get it ready for that. And then we're just going to tuck ourselves up onto our cushion. So you might want to just tuck it underneath the straight leg butt cheek as you bring this leg round into deer pose. So get yourself nicely earthed here, sitting up nice and tall. Lovely. Fantastic. Take a deep breath in, sweep the opposite arm up, so the leg that's in front, and stretch up, and over. So breathing here, lengthening, and still pushing down and then taking that energy transfer from the earth up through the body. So we're just creating that sort of extra dimension to the stretch. Breathing here. Breathe in, back to center. Release those legs off. Lovely. Bring your cushion out in front. We're going to use that in a bit, and we're going to bring ourselves into our traditional sort of cat-cow. So back into your table position then, up onto your knees. Find your alignment. So knees under hips, and wrists, elbows and shoulders nicely aligned. So take your time here to connect with the floor. So really open up the cat paws, really flatten the palm. Opening up those fingers are really going to sort of activate the radial muscles. So pushing into the floor and stretching and rolling. So you might want to just take a little bit of time to revisit that sort of shoulder rolling movement we did at the start there, sitting. And then settle. No head for the moment. You're just going to draw the shoulders back, level up the pelvis, and suck the bandhas in here. Breathing here, connecting. Compress the feet in lightly. Breathing here. And then a deep breath in, drop the belly, look up, breathing. And then breathing out, push the floor away, suck everything in. Breathing in, take your time, don't have to incorporate the head if you don't want to. Think about where you can create space. Activate the bandhas here to help change the positions. You can feel the effect of the bandhas in the belly and around the hips, the lower back. Take a couple more here if you need to, or come to stillness while I talk through the next pose. So going into a tiger position. So we're going to drop the weight into the left leg and push through the right hand. Lift the right knee into the chest. Try not to nut yourself here as you suck in and open the back, and then carefully lift this leg up. So we're nicely earthed through the opposites here. Right hand, left knee. Got the right leg lifting, bringing the head up. You can feel some activation in the bottom and the lower back here. And then breathing out, tucking it back in. These don't have to be mega movements, okay? You can work to a range of movement that suits you. The challenge will be to keep the pelvis level and keep the slowness and the deliberate nature of the pose. Breathing in on the curve, dropping the hips slightly if you feel yourself spinning off a little bit, and then breathing out, sucking it all back in, opening the back. So a variation here on our striking tiger. Still quite tough. Rest off if you need to. Just take the weight off the hands and the wrists, stretching yourself back into swan stretch. If that's too much with straight arms, bring the arms in or bring the hands and the arms behind you. Settling. Then when you feel that you've gathered your energy back into the body, you can bring yourself back up to your table position, finding your pose again. This time we're going to actually activate the other side, so we're going to be pressing down through the left hand and the right knee. Draw the shoulders back, stretch through the top of the head, think long spine, and then we're going to breathe out, arch the back, suck the knee in of the left leg, really pushing down through the left hand and the right knee, and then breathing out, lifting it back up. So take your time, breathing in on this lift and breathing out on the extension. Think about how the muscles are working. Tuck in those bandhas to help support. If you feel yourself sort of falling off to the right, then just push down through the left hand and drop the left hip. Working it to a level that suits you, and then when you've had enough, you can rest out, particularly if you feel sort of lactic acid building anywhere, hands, wrists, lower back, bottom. Stretch out, lengthen into your swan stretch, breathing here. So again, aiming to get the bottom as close to the heels as you can. If you need to pop your cushion on your heels, you certainly can. That's a nice spacer to help increase the stretch through the quads at the front of the thigh and top of the knee. Lovely. Change it into a child pose. Bring your hands behind you, make yourself very small. If you need to widen the knees in order to feel less claustrophobic, then that's fine. Lovely. Fantastic. So, carefully does it then. We're going to bring ourselves up to standing now into our Tadasana for some initial standing balances. So, move any blankets out of the way. If you want to go via a down dog to bring yourself up, that's absolutely fine. Bring yourself up that way. So then, first of all, we're going to take some sun salutations, which are going to end in a standing balance. So, carefully does it then. Just need a quick time check actually. Okay. Standing at the front of the mat, bringing yourself into Tadasana, opening the toes, finding all four corners of the feet, and this might take a little bit of weebling around maybe. Pushing down through the floor, taking that energy transfer back up the legs, into the bandhas, stretching up nice and tall, roll the shoulders back and down, and drop the hands down here. So you feel the heart opening, heart center popping through, energy zipping up and down the body from the floor, tucking the chin in here. Tadasana is a pose in itself. We tend to sort of rush past it sometimes, so just sort of settle for a moment. Find your drishti, find your bandhas, find your breath. Take it into the extended version. So back arch alert here. So for those of you protecting your lower back, you keep the arms lower and just focus on lengthening the front and the back of the body equally. If you're keeping the arms high, drop the shoulders in, scoop the armpits forward, actively pushing the floor away, trying not to lock out the knees, and lengthening. Breathing here. You can end up going quite far back in the back bend, but keep listening to what's going on here in the lower back. Breathing all the while, enjoying the pose. And breathe out. We're going to fold down, soften the knees to release the lower back a little bit. Hands to shins is fine, hands to floor is fine, you choose. Roll the shoulders back, tuck the tail under and stretch. And then breathe out, fold. Soft Uttanasana here. Bend the knees so you can get the hands into the floor. Push the hands in, drop the weight into the left foot as you stride back with the right foot. Prepare for high plank to low plank, or high plank to chaturanga, your call, and you try stride back into your high plank. If you're down on your knees, totally fine. Lowering yourself to the floor and to up dog as normal, or you take your chaturanga to your up dog. Press the feet into the floor, lift and lengthen, listening to the back, band is working, pushing where you're in contact with the floor, in, and then tuck the toes under and slide back to your down dog. Make your adjustments. Really sort of focus on the front end here, so getting those dog paws into the floor, growing the energy up the arms as we hinge back into our down dog. Then look at the toes, spread them out and press all 5 toes on each foot into the floor. It's not as easy as it sounds. The little toe wants to pop up, and then draw the energy up the legs as you settle into your down dog. If it's soft knees, high heels, but you're still focusing on that length and you're keeping more in a soggy dog, totally fine. You decide, it's your yoga. Keep breathing here. So prepare, breathe in, look up, and lift the left leg forward. If you need to push it through, that's totally fine. Extend and look up as you bring the right leg through. It's attached, it should come. Breathe in, you can take the half or the sort of lifted Uttanasana, and breathe out, fold. Breathe in, soften, push the floor away, lengthen and lift. Stretch up into your extended Tadasana, dropping the shoulders, scooping the armpits, and breathe out. Lovely. We'll take that again, this time stepping back on the other side. So take a deep breath in, sweep up, extend and open, take a couple of breaths here. Breathe out lower, softening the knees, shins or floor. Breathe in, extend, curl the tail under, and breathe out, fold. Bend the knees, get the hands planted, left foot back, right foot back. Prepare for high plank or your low plank, and if it's low plank, so through your chaturanga to your up dog, or low plank, lower yourself down, drop the shoulders back and away, and lengthen the front of the body. Doesn't have to be high, just focusing on activating those muscles in the back. Push through the knees, or bring yourself straight through to your down dog. Again, think about the front end, roll the shoulders away, push the heels of the hands into the floor as you then stretch away and lengthen. Opening up the toes and settling here, lovely. Can be a soggy dog too, doesn't have to be a big dog, can be a small soggy dog. Breathe in, look up, think about getting this right leg through to the front, then the left leg, keeping the nose out of the way is important. Breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana, stretching away, and breathing out, folding. And then soften, push the floor away, lift up, lengthen up, drop the shoulders, open the armpits. Doesn't have to be a big pose, but just lengthening, pushing against the floor, and using that energy to be tall, 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 and then breathe out. Lovely. So I'm going to take our standing balances now, so entirely up to you whether you choose to do a tree position, moved out of shot, tree position, or whether you want to go into more of the Ardha Hasta Padangusthasana. So entirely up to you, whichever standing balance suits you, and tree is still tree, it's quite low, so entirely up to you, you choose. So here we're going to go into a tree position. So with all standing balances, we're looking to connect in, root in. The obvious reason for choosing tree would be, trees have roots. So we're going to push down through the floor, lengthen and lift out of this standing leg, lifting up and out of the hip, stretching up nice and tall. So you feel this sort of channel of energy zipping up and down that side, and then take the bandhas in, take the focus to the breath, and breathe out as you lift your leg up. You choose where it goes, as long as it's not pressing on the knee joint, that's absolutely fine. And then just find if you want it to be a small pose, hands to hips, arms out to the side if you need to, stretching away, hands to Namaste, cactus, or then going into more of the full pose where you lift the arms up and settle, dropping the shoulders and scooping the armpits forward. And all the while focusing in on your gaze point, your bandhas, and where you're earthing yourself. And just feel the energy transfer and try to just keep with the breath. Most of these balances where we're sort of focusing in our attention, you tend to start chopping the breath or, even stopping breathing just to keep concentrating. So keep breathing here. It can become quite a meditative pose for you. Stay as long as you like, or carefully move yourself out of this side. To release the hip, the leg and the lower back, soft uttanasana here, so you can take hands to hip, thighs, drop the head, drop the shoulders, slide yourself down, soft knees, grazing the floor, hanging and lifting the tail, and then push away and roll yourself one vertebra at a time, back up, Pilates-esque style roll. Onto the other side. So again, settling yourself here, finding your pose, baseline, rooting through all 5 toes, through all 4 corners of the feet, pushing down, lifting up, lengthening, feel the energy transfer, stretching up, up and away. Lovely. And then we're going to draw the energy up, 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 and bring the other leg into position. Again, doesn't have to be a mega pose, doesn't have to be impressive, can just be what you want to achieve today. Keep breathing here, hands low, hands out, hands high. You choose. Breathing, holding. Lycra's not my friend today with this dodgy ankle. Breathing here, settling. Find where you can be comfortable in the pose and settle. Tuning into your breath, into your body. Lovely. Releasing yourself out then. Bringing yourself then back into that standing Tadasana position. I'm going to bring ourselves now into our Utkatasana. So carefully does it then. We're going to, I'm just going to move my mat back a tad actually, just a tiny bit. There we go. So feet together, knees together. If you know when you take your fierce pose that you find the spacing a bit difficult of the knees and maybe you're protecting knee joints, hip joints and the lower back, you might want to stick the cushion between your knees. You decide, get the spacing just right for you. If you've got feet together, then we're looking to connect the inner edge of the feet. Fan open the toes, just lift the arches of the feet and then push the floor away as you stretch up. Doesn't have to be high arms, keep the arms low if you prefer. Breathing in, stretching up, and then draw the shoulders down and in to the back ribs as you sit down. So again, if it's too much on the lower back as you sit back, curl the tail under and bring the hands down to just take that centre of gravity down a little bit. Breathing here. Option here to stay here or to change it into Gomukhasana arms. So left arm up, right arm back, and just catch behind you or just press. Open and lift and stretch. Slight change in energy here. Opening up the arms ready for some poses later on. Releasing off after 5 breaths. Cycle it round, come out of your Utkatasana at any point, or take it deeper if you feel like you're settling more into position, keeping those knees nicely aligned, big armpit on the upper arm, and a dropped shoulder on the lower arm. Keep breathing here. releasing out. Lovely. So we're going to take a warrior sequence here, taking the time to sort of plug in the feet, really sort of plug into to the earth, and then take that energy, as if we're sort of plugging ourselves into the grid, if you like, taking that energy up into our expanded warrior sequences. So we're going to cycle through the warriors here. So from the front of the mat, we're going to stride back to a warrior one position. So dropping the back heel down. If you prefer to take it with the heel high, that's fine. Keep bringing that right hip through though. If you're earthing through the back heel, I'd like you to just bring yourself up, lengthen the front of the body, slight back bend here as we plug in that back leg, straightening but not locking, guiding that right hip forward. Then sink down, just check, you might have to caterpillar forward a little bit to get the proportions just right. Hands can be low, medium, or high. So you've got a choice. Full pose, obviously high, and an expansion. So lengthening the front and the back of the body. Keep breathing here. Lengthening, breathing, lengthening, breathing. Turning that into a warrior two. Apologies, my back is going to be to you, but it'll be frogways next time. Stretching away and lengthening. So again, the weight is over the center, even weight through both feet. So we're not leaning forward or back, nicely centered, sinking, lifting, and stretching. Breathing here, smoothing the shoulders down and away. If you need help, just bring the palms up first and keep the arms bent. Option 3, warrior 3, no surprise there. Up onto a high heel at the back again. Bring the waist forward. We're doing it in this order for a reason. And carefully does it then. Hands to hips, hands out to the side, or hands to Namaste. You choose. Just draw the energy in, tuck the chin in, shorten the stance, and bring yourself forward. I'm a bit close to the window there. Carefully push down, root down through that front leg. Take the energy transfer from the earth back up into the leg as you lift yourself up and hinge through. Keep dropping the hip, keep lifting, dropping and lifting, stretching away. I'm bringing the energy to the heart center here, so there's a focus, but you choose where your arms are happiest, and it doesn't have to be massive. Keep breathing here, and then dropping down. Back into the warrior one position. Going to take a humble warrior here. So, option first, reverse, then humble warrior. Humble warrior doesn't have to be a big pose, it can be small, okay? So, right hand on right leg, and we're going to bring the left arm up, just lengthen up, reverse, and as you release the chest back to forwards, bring the clasp through, roll the shoulders open, drop the clasp, push down equally through both feet, squaring off the pelvis, so you're drawing the left hip backwards, and sucking in the bandhas. This might be enough. Otherwise, launch off, hinge through the pelvis, keep lifting and straightening and lengthening those arms away. Tuck the chin in as you go over. There's a tendency to start sort of pigeoning the chin forwards. Keep the weight in that back leg, okay? But there's a significant weight, energy transfer rather, through the front leg. Entirely up to you. It can be high, medium, or very low. You choose where you think you're going to get the most benefit. Keep breathing here. Sucking in the bandhas and lengthening through the arms and the spine. Good contact through all four corners of the feet, both feet. Lovely. Soften it off. Breathe in. Follow that clasp all the way back up. Stride yourself back to the front. Pilates roll down, roll back up, or a sort of full Uttanasana. So up to you. You can lengthen and stretch out and away. Keep that energy transfer going up and down the legs. Keep the bandhas working. Doesn't matter whether you're doing the roll down or the more active version. You choose. Soften off and bring yourself back up. So you're going to go on the other side now. So we're going to stride back with the left leg this time. Warrior sequence on the left. Striding back here into our warrior position. You might see me change my ankle position a little bit for this one. So, I'm going to straighten off through that back leg, temporarily lengthen and lift, plug back in. So we're straightening this back leg, fully active but not locking out that knee, and then bring yourself through as you start to move forward, straightening the pelvis as best you can, drawing the energy up the right leg and rooting down through the left leg. Settling here, entirely up to you whether you go high, medium or low. You choose, doesn't have to be a big pose. Still a warrior if you've got your hands on your hips and the knees slightly bent at the front and the hips square. Changing position here once you've taken a few breaths. Adjust into your warrior two. Make sure you're comfortable with the distance the legs are. Settling the weight over the center, keeping that knee nicely aligned, pushing down equally through both feet. Energy up and out, and when you're ready, bring the arms up, dropping the shoulders back and down, elbows bent, palms up to start with, and then you can stretch away and flip over. Keep those shoulders dropping down. Stretching away, lengthening, good even weight through both legs. And particularly seeing if you can just push down through the outer edge of that back foot. Breathing here, that's not new news to my yogis. Keep going on about that. Breathing here. Change the position again, so bringing it back up into a walking stance. Going to bring ourselves into warrior. So just going to move back a little bit. Take the energy into that front leg. So you're up off the back heel, pushing down through that front bent leg. Good contact through all four corners of the feet. Energy transfer up into the psoas here to help stabilize. Keep breathing in and draw the energy either into the heart center as you hinge, or just work yourself into a position where you're happiest. Breathing here. Oh, it's not working very well on this side today. Extending, lengthening, tired, clearly. Keep breathing, keep lengthening. And it doesn't have to be massive, can be just the sort of pose you need. Keep dropping that left hip a little bit and lifting up and away. When you're ready, lower yourself down. Step back into that warrior two position, warrior one position again. And we're going to come into our humble warrior. So reverse first, front hand on front leg, back hand on back leg, push down and straighten, push off and lengthen, and just lengthen the front of the body as you briefly go back and plug in through that back leg, and then breathe out, bring the hands into the clasp and fold yourself over that bending front leg. Check that knee doesn't go past the ankle, and again, it doesn't have to be a mega pose. Can be just settling in, keeping that good plug in here through this back leg. Otherwise, you can keep the move going and bring yourself over. Keep drawing the energy up the right leg to keep that pelvis cut as square as you can. There's a tendency to sort of fling off into the space here. The pelvis is very good at adjusting for avoiding stretch. So just keep mindful of that. Breathing here. And then when you're ready, push down and follow the clasp all the way back up. Lovely. So carefully does it then, striding back, bring your feet together. Can be your Pilates roll down, very soft, rolling down, or more of an active Uttanasana, lifting, stretching away. Or if you're a Vinyasa fan, down to maybe a brief Padangusthasana. So you choose. Find where you're comfortable and settled. And then when you're ready, bring yourself back up. Soften through the knees. Push the floor away. Bring yourself back up. So the purpose here as well of keeping the knees softer on those movements is it allows just a bit more of that sort of rooting down through the feet and less of that sort of strain around the lower back. Lovely. Okay. So we're going down now into a low lunge as we move towards our seated positions. So we're coming down to a low lunge. So again, you might need your cushion or your blanket or your towel to just pad up your back knee. We're not staying too long, okay, so just keep it handy. So we're going to stride back with the right knee to start with. So to get there, take a deep breath in and breathe out, fold. Fingertips to the floor, breathe in, stretch away, and then soften off as you hinge back. Stride back with that right leg and then drop the knee down to the floor. As much space as you can comfortably manage between this front foot and the back knee. So you can see I'm quite deep here, but for you, you might decide that you just want to keep it fairly light today. You choose. So activate both feet, push them into the floor. Breathe in, lengthen. Again, you can just keep fingertips to the floor, or you can come up to the knee and keep tall, keep lengthening the spine, but keep pushing the floor away and keep sucking in the bandhas. Lovely. If you want to take it higher, take it higher. Just notice the effect on the lower back. And then breathe out into your lizard position. So bring the hand inside the leg. So both hands are now inside the foot. They're over this side. Stretching away, lengthening. Keep drawing the knee into the shoulder and keep drawing the heart center through towards the floor and pushing the feet into the floor. Step one. Step two might be to go down a little bit deeper. If you've got your cushion handy, you can always stick it underneath your hands and go down to that, or you can go down towards the floor. Keep drawing the knee in, keep pushing the feet into the floor. Keep the back long. Breathing here, shoulders moving away from the ears. Lovely. Option here then to take the Vashisthasana. So up to you. You can either just move your hands back, move the foot back, and spin that left foot out to the side as you then lean back down. Bring the right hand into the center line where you can get that shoulder above the wrist and spin to the side. Breathing here, cinch in the waist, cinch in the bandhas. If you want to take the fuller version, then obviously you can bring the feet to the back of the mat, flex the feet, and they're sort of in front of each other. Stretch up and away, align the spine and sucking in the waist here, or then the full version of putting your feet on top of each other. You choose. Breathing here and then release off. Back down to your knees and stretch away. So we're working towards the potential for a crow pose here. If you know that's not for you, or even just sort of working towards it, that's fine. We're still sort of working through some bone density and strengthening work for the upper body and arms and shoulders. So you can swap the prop round here, prop that back knee, so other knee now propped under on the cushion. Bring the right leg through for your low Anjaneyasana lunge. Find your alignment of that front leg. Stretching and lengthening, that can be step one. Pushing the feet into the floor. If you want to come up, you can lift up, keep lengthening, growing the front of the pose, growing the spine, but still bandhas in and pushing down through both feet. Breathing here. And then lowering down carefully into your lizard. So you're coming inside the leg, pushing down into the hands, draw the knee into the shoulder and stretch away. Still pushing the feet into the floor, lengthening the spine, step one. Step two might be cushion underneath your forearms, or step three, down to your forearms and drawing in the knee. So keep breathing, keep lengthening, shoulders drawing back and lengthening the spine away. Lovely. Then adjusting into the Vashisthasana. So then we can spin, bring ourselves back a little bit into a smaller pose, move this right leg out to the right, bring our left hand in front in rough alignment with the knee, shoulder, head, elbow and wrist nicely aligned, dropping the pelvis and stretching up, or changing that then into fuller versions if you know you like these poses. Flexing the feet, cinching the waist and stretching away. Lovely. Release that off, back into a swan stretch, settling it away. So your options here, you can stay in swan stretch child pose for a little while longer, or you can take your crow pose. If you're taking a child position here, you might want to go into wide knees, just to open up the hips briefly before we go into crow, or you might prefer that if you're staying in child. So moving your self towards crow pose. If you're doing it from kneeling, fine. If you're doing it from squat or doing it from your down dog. If you know your way in, carefully we're bringing hands and feet together. So hands are going to be narrower and feet are going to be wider with the toes out to the side. Feet are behind the hands and we're going to just drop the belly and tail down. Bring the elbows out to the side, so they're your little platform, and maybe now the hands are a little bit wider and the feet maybe come in a little bit narrower. So there's a slight change in proportion here. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulder heads roughly. Roll the shoulders back and down. Lengthen and lift your gaze. As you look up, keep the gaze up as you might lift one leg up. Carefully settle back down. Building that little platform. If you're below the knee joint, that's helpful because that just gives less bruising. Lifting on the other leg. Lifting up. And again, that wakes up the psoas on each side. Or if you know you can launch straight up, draw energy in, ground yourself and lift yourself up. Keep breathing, keep lengthening, keep lifting, holding, lovely, and dismount. Back into a child pose. Those of you being patient while we did that crow, thank you. Lengthen the arms out. Open up the shoulder blades, open up the armpits. Just draw the elbows in a little bit as you set up wide knees. And then we're ready to bring ourselves into our Dandasana. Quick time check. Lovely. Okay, so seated Dandasana, legs out straight. No prop unless you feel that you really need it to lift, and just slightly anterior tilt that pelvis forwards. So some ladies particularly find that slightly helpful, or just sitting on a little bit of blanket sometimes is enough. Pull the fleshy parts out. Activate the legs. Softness in the knees to start with. Push the heels in. Draw the energy up as the legs straighten but don't lock. And take that energy into the belly, into the bandhas, and sit yourself back up. Hold the pose. So sometimes flat hands, sometimes fists and a lift. You decide how best the energy transfer needs to happen in this pose today. If you just want to rest the hands elsewhere and just make it a meditative pose, that is also fine. Your 5 Ujjayi breaths here, focusing on the out breath particularly. I'm going to take our Marichyasana, so bending the right knee, squidge that calf out of the way and draw the foot up towards the belly. So I'm just going to spin so you can see that from the front. So a nice handstand, this distance between foot and thigh. Activate the left leg, push down through the right foot, suck in the bandhas and sit up. First of all, we're going to hold the right arm around the right knee and sit up nice and tall. And then we're going to just swap that arm over, press in and twist. So roll the left shoulder open and turn away as you keep drawing the left leg into the body. Breathing here. Bandhas working. It's quite a nice breathing exercise to go towards the kidneys here. Breathing into the kidney area. Change the position, so I'm going to swap sides now. Turn, keep nice and tall, keep the legs active. As you swap the left arm around the right knee, sit up nice and tall and spin the right shoulder open. Step 1, bandhas tucking everything in. Step 2, flip that arm over and spin a bit deeply. And step 3, you know it, if you can do it, bring yourself into the bind. Draw that knee sideways. Starts to cave in, you're going to bring it out again and spin. Keep breathing here, keep drawing that energy up and down the legs, and the band is working. Not easy to talk in this one. Good. Lovely. Release that off. Soft Paschimottanasana in the middle. Stretching away, nothing major, just to reset the pelvis. And then onto the other side. Squidge the left calf out to the side. Bring the foot in, handspan distance. Same arm around same leg. Activate the right leg, sit up nice and tall and spin. Change the arm position if you can, and just take that nice turn into the open hip. Breathing here. Band is working, legs working. Lovely. And then carefully change the position, wrap around, sit up nice and tall, hang on to that leg if you need to just really kind of sit up and lengthen, and then relax it off and use the muscles of the core and the trunk to keep yourself upright. Change that hand position across if you can. Try and keep this knee nicely upright, although it will move slightly. Breathing here. And then if you feel you can take the bind, sit up nice and tall, adjust that knee position and be tall. Keep breathing here, active through the feet and the legs. And when you're ready, release it off. Lovely. Soft Paschimottanasana in the middle. Lovely. So, just going to take a Yoga Mudrasana, soft forward fold, a bit like we did at the start. If you want to prop yourself up, great. We're going to use the cushion, or 2 cushions if you've got them, for our supported Shavasana today. So up to you though if you want to sit up on your cushion to take the weight out of the cross-legged position. You decide. So settle yourself carefully here. Our final sort of rooting pose before we finish. Sitting up tall, leveling up that spine, noticing what's changed in your cross-legged position since the start. Hands to the knees and tuck the chin in. If you want to engage Yalahandra Bandha, you can. So you can stay here as your yogic seal today, or if you want to sweep the hands forward and round, catch the hands into the more traditional Ashtanga version, tucking the chin in and breathe out, fold. Just be careful if you're highly propped. You don't want to go too far because you're going to fall off. Keep breathing, lengthening, breathing, lengthening. Bandha's lightly engaged here. You decide. 5 to 10 breaths here in this pose. So don't rush your Yoga Mudrasana. When you're ready, you can release yourself down for Shavasana. And the Shavasana we're looking at today, supported Shavasana with your cushion or cushions. We're going to just make sure that this cushion is above the bony line of the sacroiliac area, so iliac crest and round to the SI knobbly bits. So just make sure that cushion is above the hip line as you, or cushions, as you roll yourself down. Legs bent to start with. If you need to prop the head as well, grab your blanket or your towel and maybe just make a little rest for that. And just settle yourself into position. The aim here is, the reason I've put this in, is that we have the option here to experience this lovely opening of the chest, the back, torso, but we also have the option as well to feel this, the source of life area
dropping down towards the floor. Okay, so it does provide this opportunity to root back down through the pelvis, through the source of life, into this position. Legs bent, legs straight. You choose into your traditional Shavasana. If you like the feeling of the throat opening, then feel free to have the head slightly tipped backwards. But then I'd like you to turn your attention now to where your body is touching the floor. So it's almost as if you've got Jamie's magic torch in your head, and you're going to shine your torch onto each part of the body that's in touch with the floor. Up through the backs of the heels, through the backs of the calves, through the bottom, the pelvis, the tail, the coccyx. The shoulders, the back of the head. And then down each arm to the backs of the hands. And as you've travelled up the body, this is the trigger, the conscious letting go of the body. So let the weight of the body sink into the floor. Feel the earth hold you, support you, cradle you. And let your attention go. If you need to take some slow sighing out breaths, then do. Focusing on exhaling everything. And I mean everything. And then the next breath comes back in naturally. 2 to 3 sighing style out breaths in slow-mo. And then settle. So this earthing, earthling, re-earthing, reconnecting. Take time to lovingly look at all parts of your life, to reach out with soul. Make time to accept and receive the love of a soul friend. That phrase should make you think of someone straight away. Enjoy someone's presence without cramming the space between you with words. Savor stillness and be willing to sit in silence. Allow yourself to be positively vulnerable without being defensive. Name your shame, your anxieties, your worries to someone you trust. When you look in the mirror next, look closely. Can you see your soul, your spirit, your God? Make space to sense more of your soul friendship with your soul, your spirit, your God. And then take your soul outside. Step into nature. See what comes your way.
So as we come to the end of the session, if you can spend more time in your Shavasana, then please do stay here and relax and spend time with yourself in active, mindful relaxation. Otherwise, turn your attention to the sounds you can hear in the room. Notice how your skin feels against the air and your body against the floor. Very gently move your fingers and your toes to bring a bit of life back into your limbs. Take the long dog stretch, and just being careful because you're on your cushions, so just take a subtle long dog stretch, maybe force or catch a yawn. And then rolling off your cushions gently to the side, hugging your knees into your chest to release your back and coming up to a comfortable seated position. So thank you everyone. So from now on there's going to be one vinyasa session and one explore session a week that I'm going to film due to just technical difficulties, lack of energy, and loads of other things going on, really busy at the moment. So take a deep breath in, sweep your arms up, take your yoga with you today, and breathe out. Thank you, and Namaste.